The images we are exposed to in the media help shape our perception of everything around us. A group of teachers met up to discuss how we represent those who teach tomorrow's generation.
Welcome today. On today's panel, we have Derek Koshnosh. My name is Mike Watson. We have Wayne Dixon and Natalie Emond. We're all University of Manitoba graduate students, and today we're going to be discussing the movie Stand and Deliver. And I think we're going to be taking a look at three clips from the movie. And this movie is basically about the character Escalante, who's a math teacher. And in the movie, he has to teach a bunch of students that probably have low expectations of succeeding, and he's teaching calculus to these students. Now, the whole premise of this movie is teachers having to go above and beyond and have great sacrifice in order to see that their students are successful. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at three scenes from the movie Stand and Deliver and discuss them.
Look, we have the remainder of the year before we're put on probation. Now, if we fail, we'll lose our accreditation.
If we fail, you can't teach logarithms to illiterates. Look, these kids come to us with barely a 7th grade education. Now, there isn't a teacher in this room who isn't doing everything he possibly can.
I'm not. I could teach more.
Well, no, she's a little sloppy with her homework.
Dad, get off the phone so we could eat.
No, she's a top student. Yeah.
Your father works 60 hours a week, then he volunteers to teach night school for free.
Sign before you come to class tomorrow.
We have to come to school an hour before school, take your class 2 periods, and stay until 5?
Believe it or don't.
Saturdays? You gotta come on Saturdays here? And no vacations?
Yep, pass the AP exam and you get college credit.
So now that we've taken a look at these scenes from the movie Stand and Deliver, I guess the question that really comes to my mind is, does Hollywood sensationalize teachers' commitment? Natalie, what do you think?
You know, I think that there's no doubt that films shape the public image of who a teacher is. But when we look at that, I think it's a two-part answer that I've got. I think that, yes, they sensationalize it, that it's not necessarily representative of what happens to an educator. And in this case, as you saw from the clips, Escalante ends up teaching evenings, weekends, goes through holidays, that kind of stuff for his students. Now, if you look at that characteristic, Mary Dalton, she wrote a paper that was titled The Hollywood Curriculum, Who's a Good Teacher? And she did that in 1995. And she actually looked at films and characterized different films, or the actors in different films, or the teachers portrayed. And Escalante would be characterized as the hero savior type. There's no doubt that he cares for his students, and I think that's reflective of us as educators, that we care for our students. Are we going to make the same sacrifices that he made? I wouldn't say that I would, and I don't think that the general population, I don't think it's fair to characterize all teachers in that category, and I think we have to be careful about what film does.
I agree with you, Natalie. I'm just looking at my own experience and my own life experience in the stage that I'm in. I've got two young daughters at home that I'm coaching and driving to different activities, and quite a home life commitment. And I'm not sure that what Escalante did in this movie is real life and can be expected of the teachers. I think it's problematic for new teachers coming into the field, current teachers that are in the field. I think it sets high expectations of teachers today.
Well, I know you think it's a bit of a rarity of what we see in some of these films, but it actually is done in real life as well. Like I can cite a couple of examples of actually instructors that do spend that much time at home. We expect our students now to work within some of the softwares that we use within our programs, like Desire to Learn, which have discussion pages and stuff like that in them. So the students are actually working on this stuff at night. So as the teachers and instructors, we're actually doing the same thing. We're at home monitoring some of this stuff. So I know it is a rarity, but there is actual teachers out there that are doing this.
Taking a look at that clip when they were in the staff room, and all the other teachers seemed to think that they were doing as much as they could. But it seemed to be that there was only like 1% or one teacher that really represented a small percentage of the school faculty that was willing to go that extra mile to do something extra. What do you think of that?
It seems pretty indicative of all professions, really. I think that's something that happens throughout any different field. You have your high achievers, the 5% that seem to go and do most of the work. You have your middle ground, and you have your low achievers as well. I think that's kind of how things really go in the real world. Yeah.
I think there's no doubt that students want to do or teachers want to do the best they can to help their students succeed, and they're willing to go beyond the 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 hour day. And most of us, you'll agree, as educators, our day doesn't stop at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock. You're working evenings, you're working weekends, so there is that. So there is that real portrayal of doing extra work. Education is not a typical profession, I don't think. I mean, all professions have different places where you have to do work, but Wayne, you looked at some real facts with Escalante, I think, at one point.
Well, the question is, like, does Hollywood actually sensationalize, the portrayal of teachers in film? Well, yes, they do. Really, it said this all happened within a year, right? They took these underachievers, Escalante took these underachievers, and within a year, he actually had them so they're writing AP tests on calculus, right? In real life, it was a 5-year process. And not only that, but actually Escalante had hand-picked instructors, okay, or teachers at early year school to actually get these guys prepped before they actually came to his course, right? So, like I said, do they sensationalize it? Yeah, absolutely.
So it was based on a true story. It wasn't necessarily all the true facts that were coming through.
It didn't happen overnight.
And that seems to be the case with most of these Hollywood movies, that there are certain facts that I think as educators we recognize and appreciate that this is actually probably happening in today's world. And I guess one of the things is, what challenges does it create for new teachers coming into the business?
Well, I think in the public eye, they're expected to probably do maybe more than what is reasonable. Administrators probably look to their teachers to do maybe more than what the job is actually, the description is. But
and I think if you look, we are right now, even as educated teachers, we're still struggling with how much we do. So a new teacher coming in, if they're basing what their career should look like on these films, they're going to struggle with that balance.
Well, I think we've taken a look at Hollywood's portrayal of teachers in education, and to leave it with, if that's the way teachers are portrayed in Hollywood, how does Hollywood portray other professions like doctors and lawyers? And I think that'll be a discussion that we can have on our next panel. So I would like to thank Derek, Natalie, and Wayne for coming out today, and thank you very much.